Hello, welcome back to 6th grade math. This is your teacher, Miss Silver Plata. So we continue with our lessons on Module 2. This time we are in Lesson 8. Okay, and in Lesson 8 it says we are going to be dividing fractions and mixed numbers. Okay, so you will be dividing fractions by mixed numbers by converting your mixed numbers into a fraction with a value larger than 1. Okay, you are also going to use equations to find the quotients. So let's begin with a word problem. Okay, so read the word problem along with me. Carly has 4.5 walls left to paint in order for all the bedrooms in her house to have the same color paint. However, she has used almost all of her paint and only has 5/6 of a gallon left. How much paint can she use on each wall in order to have enough to paint the remaining walls? Now, I always ask my students, okay, if we are in the classroom, I will cover what we just read, and I will ask my students what you remember about the word problem. Because if you can say the word problem in your own words, that means to say you understood what the problem is all about. So here, Carly has 4.5 walls left to paint. So in other words, she already started painting, but she still have to paint 4.5 walls. Okay? And then, as we continue to read, we found out that she only has 5/6 of a gallon left. Now, the question being asked here is, how much paint can she use on each wall in order to have enough paint to paint the remaining walls? So, if we're looking at this problem, we are actually having the paint left and using it to paint the remaining 4.5 walls that she still needs to paint. So you have 5/6 of paint, and you have to make sure that that 5/6 goes to all the 4.5 walls. Okay, so before we continue and find the answer to this word problem, I want you to predict the answer. Okay, is it less than 1 gallon or more than 1 gallon of paint to use for each wall? What do you think? Are you thinking? Okay, so it must be less than 1 gallon because why? You are dividing a smaller number by a larger number. So you are correct. It must be less than 1 gallon because, remember the previous lesson? If we have a smaller number, say 1 divided by 5, that's smaller than 5, what is the answer? It's less than 1, right? Okay. So let's look at this problem and let's solve it. Okay. Write the expression. That's the first thing to do. And we wrote the expression already. 5/6 divided by 4.5. Okay. Now, in the beginning I told you, in this lesson, you are going to divide with a mixed number. But you have to change or convert your mixed number into a fraction first before you divide. Okay. So I'm going to keep my 5/6. And I am going to get my mixed number and convert it into a fraction. Now, how do we do that? Okay, 4.5. Here's what we will do. The denominator times the whole number, 2 times 4 is 8, plus the numerator. Let me say that again. Denominator times the whole number, 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So that is your new numerator, and then you keep the same denominator. So that's how to convert from mixed number to a fraction. Okay? So from the expression, we renamed our mixed number into a fraction. Then we are going to divide. Now in dividing, we will no longer use a model for this lesson. Okay? We are not going to rewrite as a multiplication. We are going to use our favorite invert and multiply rule. Okay, so I hope you did not forget that, how it works. 5, 6, keep that. Get the reciprocal of the second fraction. So instead of 9 halves, we now have 2 ninths. And then we multiply. That's the invert and multiply rule. So you multiply. 5 times 2 is 10. And 6 times 9 is 54. Okay. And of course, since it's a fraction, I always encourage my students to always get the simplest form. So the simplest form of 10 over 54 is 5/27. Okay. So going back to the problem, we had the expression written down. We converted the mixed number into a fraction. We use invert and multiply rule. We got the answer. Then we answer the question. How much paint can she use on each wall? So we say Carly, is that her name? Yes. Carly can use 5/27 of a gallon of paint on each of the remaining walls. Sorry about the handwriting. This board will not cooperate. All right. So there's our first problem for lesson 8. Okay, so let's try one more time. This time it's not a word problem. So we have 2/5 divided by 3 and 4/7. So what do we do? That's the expression written down already for you. Okay, 2/5 divided by, yes, convert the mixed number into a fraction. And how do we do that? 3 times 7 is 21, plus 4 is 25. And then you keep your 7. Okay? Now, then what do we do? Invert and multiply. Okay, so 2/5, you keep that. Instead of 25/7, we say 7/25. Okay, and then you multiply. Okay. Invert and multiply. So 2 times 7 is 14. And 5 times 25 is 125. So can we still simplify that? No, I don't think so. I think it's the simplest form already. All right. So in lesson 8, if we are in the classroom, okay, you will be working with a small group and play a game. And this game is called a memory game. Okay. But don't be sad. Even if you are home or wherever you are and you're watching this, you can still play this game. Okay. What I want you to do is copy these expressions and then cut them to create cards. Okay. So there are 12 expressions. Once you have copied them, you cut them and you form them into playing cards. Okay. Then in your packet, you will see a page that looks like this. So let me show you. Okay, can you see that? Can you? All right. So you will have this in your packet. And what I want you to do, take each expression, write it in each box, and solve it. Find the quotient for each expression. Okay. Now, when your cards are ready and you have completed and answered all the expressions, then this is how the memory game works. The goal is to match each expression with the equivalent quotient. Okay? So you got the expression copied and solved in this paper, right? Okay. And this is what you're going to do. These cards, remember that you created and you cut, put it face down on the table, and then flip 2 cards each time. If the expression and the quotient do not match, then you flip it back over. Okay? If the cards match, then the player keeps the matches to determine a winner at the end. So that's why it's called memory game. So I'm sure you played this kind of game before already, so it's not new to you, but that's what you will do. Okay, the goal is to match each expression with the equivalent quotient, and it's easier to do that if you already solved all the quotients of all the expressions in this document. Okay, so make sure that it's handy, it's with you, and then you got the cards set up. Okay, put it face down on the table and start playing the game. So remember, if you get a match, you keep the card, and that will determine the winner in the end. The more matches you make, the better, because you win. All right, so before I end this lesson, let me part with this question. Okay, how does the process of dividing a fraction by a mixed number compare with our previous work with division of fractions? How? Yes, because in here, if you have a mixed number, you need to uh, convert it into a fraction before you use the invert and multiply method. Okay? All right. So, don't forget, in this lesson, you have, before you play the game, sorry, before you play, I forgot you're playing a game. All right. Remember, you have an exit ticket, you have a problem set for more practice, and it's in your packet. Okay. So, you can play the game, but before that, stay safe. Don't touch your face. Okay. And I'll see you next time with more lessons for Module 2. Enjoy the game. Bye.